All right, here we go. We're live. How's everyone doing? Let's just get a quick audio visual check. Make sure that you can all see me okay. You can see the chart, that you can hear me all okay as well. It's been a while since I did a live stream. Maybe only a week, but it feels like a long time. Thank you all for tuning in today. Please smash up those likes as we're coming in. Thank you all very much to those of you who did do that already. Hope you're all having a good day. We've got a good Bitcoin live stream today. We've got a lot to cover. So I'm definitely excited for this one. Just going to wait for those comments to come in telling me that we're all set. All right, everyone's saying it's good? Perfect. There we go. There we go. Okay. So Bitcoin, unfortunately, ended up falling out of this symmetrical triangle that I pointed out to you guys. And I mentioned that as long as Bitcoin can hold above the $50,000 level, we're going to be okay. And so far, we have been able to hold above the $50,000 level. We tested it today. We came down to 50,300. So MDX Crypto Raid, did he shout out this live stream? So if we do end up bouncing off the 50k level and staying above, I think we're good. This is the shortened analysis. I think we're good. I think we're safe. If we fall below it, I think it will get much worse, and I'll give you the reasons for why. Before I continue though, I would like to talk a little bit about the Tesla pump and laugh at a few people for a minute because I'm sadistic apparently. See, the key thing is this big pump right here. It happened because Elon Musk announced something that was already announced, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, where Tesla announced in their reports to the SEC or whatever when they were buying Bitcoin that they are also going to accept Bitcoin as a currency to pay for their cars. And just yesterday, Elon Musk tweeted out that that day when they can start accepting Bitcoin for Tesla cars was yesterday. And so now you can. Very, very cool. Very good. It's awesome. That's what drove this pump. But as you can see, it was all just hype. And the fact that it was all just hype, ladies and gents, and it still couldn't keep the market up is concerning to me. Because a market like this, now this is where we're diving deeper into the news and we're really understanding what this means, right? We got this initial rise up and it couldn't sustain and we just fell down with the exact same speed that we went up. What's concerning about this is that this market, you know, we zoom out. It's very clear that this market is running entirely off hype, right? If Bitcoin was not running off hype, we wouldn't have gone from $20,000 up to $40,000 in the space of about 2 weeks. All right, let's just get that out of the way. And let's stop bullshitting ourselves. If Bitcoin was not running on hype, we wouldn't be running up this quickly. Okay? This is reality. So, if we know that one of the key things driving this market up is hype and positive sentiment, and then we get the fuel for it, and it doesn't let the market keep rising up, you've got a problem. You've got a really big problem. The only thing that Bitcoin had going for itself, I'm sorry, the main thing that Bitcoin had going for itself was hype and positive sentiment. And this is what I kept on saying. You know, if that positive sentiment can return to the market, then I would expect fear of missing out to return and it's going to carry on going higher. And it didn't work. Right? So that's the main thing going for it. And it lost it. It's like, you know, a girl hits 30 and or 40 or 50 or whatever, and she starts realizing that her good looks don't last forever, and now she's shitting herself. So that's what's happening here. A guy gets super rich, I'm gonna get all the women now, and then he loses his money. It's the only thing he had going for himself. He's lost it. What's he gonna do now? You know, now he's on a downfall. So that's what I'm seeing here with Bitcoin. And that's why, even though from a technical perspective, nothing has changed, and I'm not worried about it from a technical perspective, it looks bad to me for holding the support level. You know, when you zoom in onto the smaller time frames, we do have a situation where we are forming quite clear kind of mini bear flags, mini bearish pennants, whatever. We're forming rising wedges, quite steep rising wedges sometimes, but rising wedges nonetheless. And we can see them very, very clearly on these small time frames. Let me switch onto a different chart where I don't have any drawings, so you can actually read this a little bit better. We don't need this pennant anymore now that we know we fell out of it. But look, it's very, very clear. We formed a bunch of patterns that were bearish, indicating that the momentum is very much with the bears, but it's temporarily shifted to be with the bulls, right? So this is a sign that we might end up reversing downwards again. We did it again just earlier today, and now we're at the big support level at 50K. So hopefully something interesting is going to happen now, and we are actually going to, hold this level and trade higher. However, if we start consolidating at this level, that to me would be an indication that the market is getting comfortable at this price area. And if it's already in a downtrend and it's getting comfortable at a support area, that to me is a sign that the support area might fall. Because as we already know, these markets aim to achieve the maximum amount of pain within the maximum time possible. So, and the second parameter is less important, but certainly the maximum amount of pain. And trading sideways in an absolutely excruciating range where, we've been trading up near 60K for a while, now we're trading down near 50, and there's already a little bit of fear and uncertainty in the market. That's the perfect storm that can trigger a really big drop down. Okay, so that's why I think we might end up dropping down from there if we start trading sideways in this range. I do not think we'll find support. The reason for that is I would have expected a very quick sharp bounce, probably something like this when we fell down to the 50K level, and we didn't get it. These are all little signs where you can't read this on the technical analysis chart, but you can ask yourself, did we show strong bullish tendencies when we fell down to this level? And one of the criteria you can evaluate to ask yourself if we're seeing strong bullish tendencies down in this range is, was there a bounce, number one? Yes, there was. How strong was the bounce, number two? Not very strong. Not very strong. In fact, if we measure it from low to high, Bitcoin only went up by 4%. That's after it dumped by 12%. So the reaction was not very strong, in my opinion. And this was a key support level for Bitcoin, in my opinion. In fact, on the 4-hour chart, we may have Ichimoku support here. Let me check. We fell out of the Ichimoku support. We have daily EMA support for sure. So there's good signs indicating that we should find support here, but we've maxed them out. I mean, we've already fallen out of the one on the midterm time frame. I personally call the 4-hour time frame midterm, which is very different to most other traders, but 1 hour is short term to me, 4 hours is midterm, 1 day is long term. That's how I do TA, and I almost never look at weekly or monthly charts. So just worth mentioning right there. We're maxing them out. Not only are we maxing them out, ladies and gents, we're also breaking below them. Look, this is the 1 hour time frame. We fell below EMA ribbon support. The 4 hour time frame, we fell below EMA ribbon support. We even used it as resistance. The Ichimoku cloud on the 4 hour time frame is about to become resistance. You understand what that means, right? That means if Bitcoin ends up trading sideways here, for example, and this becomes a resistance cloud that starts, becoming like, say, this big. This is a resistance cloud right here, by the way. If you don't know what an Ichimoku cloud is, go ahead and pause the live stream right here, type this into the YouTube search bar, and watch my free tutorial showing you how to get the Ichimoku cloud and how I use it. Very, very useful video that I made 3 years ago or something, and it's still as valid 3 years ago today as it was 3 years ago. So definitely check it out. That means that we're going to start seeing resistance up here. And it makes a lot of sense because we were previously finding support down here. In fact, on a different chart, I can show you how this area was actually forming a descending triangle. All right, and I didn't talk about it on the YouTube channel, but I did talk about it inside of Forflies VIP. You guys know the deal there. Forflies VIP is where I'm showing you all the information on the trades I'm making, as well as giving you all of my analysis. There's a lot of analysis that doesn't make it here. Shout out to Abdullah in the comments, one of my friends out here in Dubai. There's a lot of, actually, he was a viewer, a first-time viewer, a couple of live streams back, and has now become a friend. So that's really, really cool. But in VIP, we were talking about how there is this descending triangle in the market, and it's concerning. And VIP's got my analysis on that, so that was a very, very valuable thing to be sharing at the time. So if you did miss out on it, it's probably because you're not inside of our exclusive VIP channel. So go ahead and check it out by following these steps on screen right here. Just these 3 clicks. First link in the description, the @Forflies button, and then the send message button to ask me how to join, and I'll give you all the information right there. But we did end up falling out of this ascending triangle, and what we're seeing here, unfortunately, are more bearish signs after that. First of all, it's not good in the first place, in my opinion, that we ended up falling below this descending triangle. But it became worse where on a 1 hour time frame, we can zoom in and we can see that we definitely fell below it, and we definitely came back up to try and scrape that, that price action back and rise up. Although unfortunately we couldn't, and we got rejected off this level and we found resistance. That, to me, is scary. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that in a situation where the market has already corrected, it's already taken its sweet time to set a new all-time high, and at that, the new all-time high wasn't very strong, which is an indication to me that there should have been a lot of bullish juice left in the market. More importantly, we've already gotten the corrections out of the way. This is like a child has been disciplined intensely and over a long period of time, and then his reward was half a cookie, and now he's being punished again. There is no punishment necessary here. You know, it means it's got fucked up parents. And this is what I'm seeing for Bitcoin right here. It's had the corrections it needs, in my opinion, and it still keeps on suffering them, which is a sign, you know, we stop humanizing, I mean, making it sound like a human. This is a sign that Bitcoin is weak. It means that the bears are stepping in much more than the bulls are, and we can see that because we're getting these classic signs of old areas of support. Bam, look at that support hit. Bam, look at that support hit. This is textbook perfect support. Old areas of support, look at that, turning into resistance, clear as day, clear as day. So it doesn't get much clearer than this when the market is starting to shift tides. I mean, we've seen it now on the very small time frames like the 1 hour. We've now seen it on the 4 hour. We fell out of the Ichimoku cloud. All of the momentum is above us, which means that it's going to act as resistance potentially. We're seeing it on the daily. We are about to flip the daily trend and become bearish on the daily time frame as well. So these are the indications that are scary. All of these analogies happened to Sammy. Actually, as far as I know, none of them have happened to me. But I can only be thankful for that. I'm getting a really weird problem in the chat today where I actually can't read most of your comments. Thank you all for tuning in, by the way. I see 800 of you, so please do smash up those likes if you're finding this informative so far. I know for a fact that no one else has been talking about what I've just covered over these past few minutes in this live stream. So I hope you are finding this dose of reality useful and helpful. Unfortunately, I absolutely cannot read the chat today. So what I'll do is actually open it up on my laptop on the side, so I can keep on reading what you guys are saying, because I obviously don't want to miss it. But yeah, I think it's very, very clear that no one else is saying this stuff right now, because, let's be honest, it kills a little bit of the fun. And that makes you very unpopular. It means people don't want to listen to you when you tell them what's real. But if you are appreciating that, and if you are enjoying it, then please do show your support with a like by subscribing if you haven't done so already. I've got your chat back up, so thank you all very much for tuning in. And so yeah, this descending triangle is concerning. Now I want to go back, flip back to bullish. The thing is, ladies and gents, we are still above the 50k level, so naturally it's looking worse the lower we go, but we haven't broken the key support level yet, so I haven't taken any drastic action. I still think that as long as Bitcoin can stay above this level, we're fine. And what I'm doing right now is I'm analyzing it on a much more micro time frame, just to see if there are any early warning signs I can get to make it safer for me to assume that we're going to drop lower, because at the moment it looks fairly likely, but we still haven't broken the key level. Until and unless we break $50,000, I think we're okay. You know, I think Bitcoin's in a good place. First of all, let's just take a minute to appreciate how amazing it is to have a $50,000 Bitcoin. That's very cool. We're definitely not appreciative enough of that. But more importantly, it means that we're still at a support level, right? It means on the daily time frame that we still have good support, and this support on the daily time frame is going to stay like this for a while. So, you know, the last time I started getting quite worried about it was over here, and I turned out to be wrong to worry, because the price just exploded from here. I mean, it doubled from here, more than that. You know, so I have trust in this indicator. I think it's very, very useful, but equally, yeah, and it is psychological. Thank you for pointing that out, Adrian. It's a key psychological area. There is a lot, in my opinion, right here that means that Bitcoin is still in a good place, but all of that will flip, in my opinion, if Bitcoin falls below $50,000. Now, I've heard some estimates of levels like 48,000. Let me plot those levels for you, make them very, very clear. Let's do it on, again, probably not the Bitfinex chart this time because Bitfinex price levels are a little bit different, but let's go for this chart right here. This was one of the beautiful trades I made, so I want to brag about that actually. I'm not going to use that chart. Let's use Gemini right here. Some of the key levels that we could find support at. Bam, let's go. Okay, 48,000 right here, 43,000 right here, and 42 already marked, 40 already marked, stretching all the way down to 38. Let me explain this chart for you. Don't pay attention to anything below this blue line right here. Everything below this line irrelevant to you. Let's break this down. So I just want to clear it up a little bit, remove any confusion. And what we have right here, $48,000 is a potential area that I think Bitcoin can find some support at if we fall below 50, because we set an all-time high at this level before, and there's a lot of price action happening around this area. There's some good consolidation. There's decent support hits around this area. 48,000 is a charged level in my opinion. Ladies and gents, when you break below a key level, you're probably going to fall down to what I would call a charged area or a point of interest. You're going to fall down to a level that's considered in the market to be significant. And there's a few different ways that a level can become significant. One of them is it's a previous all-time high. Another one is it's a big bounce point. Look at this. Big bounce point, $43,000. That's another way that a price level can be deemed to be very significant. And we always tend to fall down. We usually tend to fall down to significant price levels. So it can be a previous all-time high. Look, we set an all-time high over here, fell down for a day or two, whatever. It can be a big crucial turning point. It can also be a big sideways range, you know, where the price just trades sideways for a long time. There's a lot that it can be, but some of the key ones, yeah, 48 I think is doable. 43 I think is where you start being more realistic, and 42 for me it starts becoming the sweet spot. Now the reason for that is if we are going to fall below 50k, it's going to mean quite a few things, and one of the first things it's going to mean, in my opinion, is that the daily trend will be broken and we will enter a short-term bear market, something that could last weeks or months, I don't know, but you know, still overall a relatively short-term bear market. And if we're gonna do that, I wouldn't be surprised if we fell much lower, because if we're in a bear market, the default price action is moving down, and I definitely think we'll be trending down for at least a few more weeks if that happened. So I think that would give us enough time to fall down to levels like the low $40,000 area. 100%. I think that would be very, very likely. The other thing, in my opinion, is that we have a strong area of support at the 50k level. So, and this is just my opinion, you know, you don't think this is a strong area of support, that's you, that's fine. But I do think this is a strong area of support. And if you're going to fail a strong area of support, then a weak area of support like 48,000 might not be good enough. All right, that's a big point. You know, if you failed a strong area of support, you probably need another area that's at least as strong as the area before. I hope that makes sense. I always give you the analogy of a fat falling man falling, you know, to the ground, and you know, I mean, and let's say the ground is made out of paper, you know, like he's super fat. Paper is not going to break his fall. Card is not going to break his fall. Stone might break his fall. So you need strong support to help the market stay up. And the next area of strong support that I see is around that 42k level, because that's where we previously set an all-time high. Now, like I said, you get significant price action areas. This is where we might get big market turning points like that. I think 42 would make a lot of sense because it's close enough to 43. I mean, you can kind of mix them up. Bitcoin's at a high price level, so it's not a big percentage change. It's not a big percentage move. Crucially, it was a big all-time high. This is actually, when we fell down here, this is actually where I thought we would go. So I was wrong about it, but only by $1,000. I made 35% trading that position, which was obviously very nice. And as usual, all of the details of that trade went straight into VIP, where I tell members absolutely everything I'm doing with every trade I'm making. I tell them why I'm making that trade, the levels I'm entering, where I'm taking profits, where my stop loss will be. I'm telling them why I'm adjusting my strategies on the fly, how am I adjusting them, and then, like I said, also giving VIPs all the full access on absolutely all of the TA that I'm carrying out. Like I said, with the descending triangle that I didn't mention, which actually turned out to be valid. I didn't mention it publicly on this YouTube channel, but I did inside of VIP. So this didn't take VIP members by surprise, and that extra edge can be what saves people from losing a lot, or obviously what's a little bit more attractive but less important in my opinion, that extra edge can be what also makes you money. In my opinion, it's always more important to first of all prevent losing. Preventing yourself from losing money is chief among my priorities all the time, but then also making money is absolutely great, and that's where we tend to see just beauty, just absolute beauty inside of the VIP group, because we got people who are pulling very, very impressive gains, $5,000 made inside of a week with 150% profit, but doing it patiently, doing it with a good entry, using the free audiobook that this person received, like all VIP members, after joining the group. You know, another guy over here with a series of very, very impressive profits from just one afternoon, paying off his VIP fee many times. I'm sorry, by a big margin. You know, just by trading in an evening. You know, so it's possible for these big gains, small risk controlled gain. It's possible for these very sexy profits to be made, but to be made in a sensible way. So if you want to learn how to join VIP, you want to find out what the details are, then the steps are on screen right here, and we'll get you inside. But let's take it back to the charts in just a minute. I do actually want to start taking your questions as well, and then I'll go back to my original point of where I think Bitcoin might bounce from. But let's just take a second there to read some of the comments so that I don't miss them. Thank you all for tuning in, by the way. Hope you're having a good, hope you're getting a lot of value from this live stream so far. And if you have, please do hit up those likes. Forflies, your honest and crystal clear analysis is very refreshing for us. Thanks. You're very welcome. Thank you very much. What about future expiry? It could have a bearing on the market, but I'm not too concerned about it. You think it's a bull flag? Interesting. Could be. I will talk about the possibilities there as well. As of Tuesday, it seems like the market is hell-bent on having the price be 52,000 going into the weekend. Yeah, I feel like that's a bit of a conclusion to jump to, but apparently it's true. Is this an example of market manipulation? No, I don't think so. I think it's just psychology not being where it needs to be. It just to me, these are indications that the market needs to correct a little bit more. This is nothing scary or upsetting or anything like that. I think it's pretty normal. As for actual levels that I think we might fall down to, so like I said, 42, because we set an all-time high here and triggered a very big drop, but also an extended bear market, so to speak, where we didn't set a new all-time high for about 31 days, that to me makes this level quite important. Not only did it, not only was it so strong that we couldn't break it for 31 days, so it took a lot of time, it also dropped us down by a lot, from high to low by about 32%, if I'm not mistaken. So a pretty big drop. I mean, in terms of big Bitcoin drops, 32% is up there. I mean, 40% is usually the biggest drop Bitcoin will have and still be healthy. 32%, you're getting pretty close to that. So that's serious. And that's why I think we might end up falling down there or near. It's also very close to this big turning point. And what I think is quite likely is if we're going to go down that low, a lot of people are going to be terrified. I know really smart people that have put life savings into Bitcoin lately. I know very, very smart people with a lot of money who are rushing to buy Bitcoin and doing stupid things, falling over, tripping over themselves just to do it. And these are signs to me that this would trigger a lot of fear and anxiety and doubt in the market, a lot of FUD, and that might mean that a final little wick to $38,000 would be exactly what gives us that blood, that final, whimper, that final, screech and pain from the over-leveraged bulls and things like that. Just to really let the market fully correct. I think on a daily time frame, you might end up bouncing off a level like this, but on a much, much smaller time frame, just a quick wick down below $40,000 towards 38, that would make a lot of sense to me. This at the moment is my worst case scenario for Bitcoin. I think it's very likely if we drop below $50,000. However, at the moment, like I said, just for those of you who are tuning in now, as long as Bitcoin stays above 50K and ideally gets a big bounce above, I'm fine with it. I think Bitcoin still looks good. To me, it still looks like, a bit of a falling wedge pattern, which I outlined on the previous video. And that's a good thing. That's a bullish thing. It's just that now, these falling wedges, they do need to find support eventually and break up. And I definitely think now's that time. If we measure it from, the all-time high to where we are today, we have been trending downwards now for 11 and a half days. All right, we have been trending downwards now for nearly 2 weeks. All right, and that's after we were just trending downwards for a similar period, 7 days. And crucially, it took us another 19 days to break the all-time high. So, like I said, we've been in correction mode for a while. This thing is ready to blow up, in my opinion. And the fact that it's not is what's concerning me. But we're still good until we drop below 50K, in my opinion, unless we drop below 50K. So I think that's really, really important key things that I wanted to talk about. We still have support. It's just that we're about to lose the last ones. That's my take here. That's my take. So that's where the market gets put in a very, very, how do I say, unstable position. And an unstable position for the market means a lot of volatility, which should hopefully mean a lot of trading moves to come, a lot of opportunities to come. I mean, literally just potentially days away, less than that. Where I think the next safe, relatively easy trade could be right around the corner. So that's obviously what I'm looking for. The deal is you can see a lot of trading opportunities in this market right here. You can try and game a lot of these moves, but not many of them will be safe or easy to trade. And the point is, when you can get safe and easy ones, I don't understand why someone would risk their money on dangerous ones. You're at a big disadvantage when you trade to begin with, just because you're human. And you're probably not as experienced as the other guy who's about to take your money. And by giving yourself a battleground where you're not in an easy position, I think it's just stupid. And that's why I pick my battles very carefully, and I only pick the ones that I know I have a very high chance of winning. And I think we're right around the corner from those again. Once again, that's where VIP really starts to shine, because you can see exactly how I'm trading with all the reasons behind it, going from my consideration phase all the way up to the point where I'm adjusting my position on the fly where it's already open and when I'm closing it as well. I give VIP members a lot of notice about the type of positions I'm trying to open and how long I think it'll be until I open them. And usually I don't open a trade without giving VIP members at least 24 hours of notice, purely because I don't day trade. So when I day trade, it's usually planned well in advance. If you're looking for a place to trade, then Bybit is great. I've been talking about them for years. I've been with them for years, so I absolutely love them. And there's a link to them in the description. I've been talking to you a lot about Phemex lately. They're also very good. You should check them both out. And like with Phemex, you are getting $600 free of charge to trade with, depending on how much you deposit into Bybit when you sign up. They also don't require KYC to trade, so you can check them out with the link in the description, and you can get some free money to trade with as well if you're looking for a place to trade with. Even if you're not looking for somewhere to trade, it's good to have backups. I talk about that all the time. And this one, just like with any exchange that I ever tell you about, is useful because if you ever have a problem with it, you don't need to go to Bybit support. You can come straight to me and I can escalate your case to the highest possible person and help you solve it as soon as possible. And that is obviously very, very valuable. So links in the description. If you're in the United States or United Kingdom, you will need a VPN, but I can't endorse that. People in the United Kingdom might actually need to put in a phone number that's not from the UK. That's very easy to do. And crucially, I don't actually think it's needed. I don't know because I don't live in the UK anymore, but I don't even think you need a phone number for this. So it's super easy, well worth checking out. All right, let's go back to the chart here. I've outlined for you what my worst case scenarios are for Bitcoin. Obviously, if we fall below this kind of level, I don't see any support for Bitcoin until it falls down to 30. And if we fall below 30, then I think we're going all the way down to 20. But I think it's super, super unlikely. So I'll only talk about it when and if the time comes. My best case scenario for Bitcoin is we stay above 50K. We get a nice bounce sometime soon when the bulls finally wake up, and we just set a new all-time high from here, because this is enough. You know, like, this is enough of a correction in my opinion. We've overcorrected in my opinion, and I think we're definitely ready to start rising. I will say that the birds have whispered in my ear, and an OTC friend of mine, who OTC means over the counter, someone who deals in large volumes of Bitcoin with usually smart people and things like that. This OTC partner has mentioned that the signs he uses to gauge Bitcoin have shown him that we might start rising up from here. And he's very positive about that. So kind of confirms my analysis. As long as we stay above 50, I think that possibility is bigger. But I think that, yeah, as soon as we drop below 50, we've lost a key ground in this battle. And it's going to mean that we have to kind of retreat back down to the next line. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm going to start going through your questions now. Once again, if you are enjoying this live stream, make sure to hit it up with some likes and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Of course, always very, very much appreciated. And crucially, if you do want to keep on catching these live streams when they happen, you want to watch them live, because obviously they're super time sensitive, then make sure you tick the bell and click on the first link in the description down below, because that's going to take you to our free Telegram channel, where we also give you updates and notices when we're about to start these live streams as well, so you'll never ever miss them. I'm going to leave this on screen for those of you who want some information about VIP and our free content right here. And I see that my assistant has replied to you guys, so that's absolutely great. And I'll start going through some of your questions now. So let's do this from the top. Am I giving out cuddles? No. Let's keep it on topic for the beginning. What's the difference between log and non-log charts? So log charts are logarithmic, which means that at the moment, you see each of these horizontal lines right here, they're scaling up by $2,000. Depending on how you zoom, it'll be, you know, now it's $2,500, zoom in a lot, and now it's, you know, $100 or $1,000, right? So that's called a linear scale, where each gap between each of these lines does not change. It's always 1,000 up, 1,000 up, 1,000 up, or in this case 2,000. Logarithmic is where this line is 10% higher than this line, for example. Again, depending on how much you zoom in. So it puts big moves into perspective. Look at that. You know, like on a linear chart, this doesn't really look like a big deal in front of a $50,000 Bitcoin, but on a logarithmic chart, it starts giving more justice to previous price action. You can start putting things into perspective to visualize how big of a deal this dump was. On the linear chart, it doesn't look bad at all. On the linear chart, this dump looks like a dip, but on the logarithmic chart, it looks very extreme. So I only use it to visualize things. A lot of traders use this exclusively to conduct analysis. I don't. Personal preference. You play around with it and see what you like. For me, linear is fine. I don't have a problem with it. Let's see what other questions we had here. Yeah, you guys are super quiet with the likes today. Let's shoot them up. Let's get them up to like 500. 1,000 is always the goal. Let's see if we can do that. Forflies, how do I not get panicked when everything is indicating a bearish trend? You know, the main reason I don't panic when everything's in a bearish trend is because I'm not over invested. So if Bitcoin falls down to zero today, I'll lose a shitload of money and I'll be very upset, but my life won't be over. And not only that, my quality of life probably wouldn't change much either. Actually, it would, but not a lot. And that's the point, you know, by not over investing, I can keep my psychology completely stable and ready to trade at all moments, because sometimes a trading opportunity will come up and I've only got like 2 days to identify it and trade it, you know, which is still plenty of time to organize a position. But it might be that, you know, just by having a little bit of advanced preparation, I would really help myself out. So I think that's a big deal. I think that's a very, very big deal. It's not being overinvested. Number two, I've lived through this a lot, so this is not new to me. And so I don't get scared by these kind of drops anymore. Obviously, I did at the beginning. Now I don't. It's just, you know, it's pretty normal for me to endure. And number three, I feel like a bitch for saying this, but I actually believe in Bitcoin. So I do, believe it or not, despite how many bad things I say, I do believe in Bitcoin. What I absolutely don't believe in are the governments and economic situations of the Western countries like the United States and UK. So if I don't believe in them, Bitcoin is a good plan B, and that's another reason that I you know, Bitcoin can drop 10%, and it can drop 40%, it can drop 80%, and my opinion on it still wouldn't change, and that's been tested, so I know it's true. There you go. Hope that answers your question. And by the way, if you want to learn kind of like why I believe in Bitcoin, so to speak, there are good books and things out there that you can look at. That's not what this channel is about. This channel is all about giving you very grounded, advanced technical analysis in a simple way, and talking about the trading side of trading, surprisingly enough. A lot of people will make content just on the analysis side, which is fine, but I'm an actual trader, so I talk about that too. Let's see what else we have here. Isn't 50k yet already a psychological level? I already talked about that. Let's see what else we have here. There's a logarithmic curve for Bitcoin. There's always a logarithmic curve. There's always a curve, full stop. That's not important to me. It seems like the price is artificially being pushed down. The Musk news should have had more legs. I mean, you can call it artificially pushed down. I'm just calling it a lack of bullish sentiment in the market. What's more realistic? You know, I honestly think it's more realistic to call this just the bulls were sleeping. You know, I mean, the bulls just weren't around when they should have been. Which is a sign that there's weakness in the market. That shouldn't be a surprise, because if you think this was market manipulation, then this probably was too. You know, but I don't think so. I mean, you know, there was also, bear in mind, ladies and gents, there was also big Musk news right here. You know, and I guess you could call that manipulation. But it was, you know, I mean, overall, it didn't seem to affect the market too much. Let's see what other questions we have here. Daily Ichimoku. Let's take a look at that. Thank you for pointing it out. That's going to be interesting. So the Daily Ichimoku is showing us a bunch of support all the way up to $49,000. Although if we drop down now, somewhere around 44 to 47,000, we might see some support. It stretches all the way down to my lowest target of 30, actually this goes lower than that, of $36,000. Stretches all the way down to 36,000. My lowest target for Bitcoin is about 38. I think it's entirely possible to get there if we fall below 50. Not super likely, but super possible. And the Ichimoku, yeah, is saying that that would still be fine, and it would, in my opinion, it would still be fine if we fell down that low. I'm curious, what would the percentage move be? As long as it's less than 40%. Bam, look at that. Oh, the math is perfect. Down by minus 38% from the all-time high. So it's not 40%, but it's damn near close enough. So that to me would be perfect. Absolutely, that would be the golden zone. This is where I'd buy a shitload of Bitcoin. Actually, I'd probably buy a little bit higher, closer to like 40k. Definitely. I think that makes a lot of sense. So there you go. I think that's a big deal that I wouldn't you know, ignore or anything like that. Ichimoku is saying, look, there's a lot of support. I mean, that's the only thing I see with this. And if you look at the Ichimoku cloud, you know, within the trend previously, it was pretty useful for the trend. I mean, you can see some really nice bounces that came off this Ichimoku cloud. So I think that's super useful. Once again, I do have a video showing you how you can use the Ichimoku and explaining what it means and things like that. So just pause the video and type that into YouTube in the search bar, and you can check it out. Does Bybit let Americans trade? Most exchanges don't let Americans trade by default, although everyone I know connects to them with a VPN and there's no issue. So I mean, it's up to you to take that risk, but I've never heard of anything going wrong. So I mean, you can check it out. You can't check it out if in the US. I can't tell you to do that, but of course, if you are interested, the link is in the description, where you're also going to get some free money to trade with when you sign up to Bybit using that link in the description, which will allow you to you know, experiment, check out what each button does, stuff like that, and you can actually watch my full tutorial on how to use the Bybit platform by typing this into the YouTube search bar. So just go ahead and pause the video and sign up to Bybit if you're looking for an exchange. One of the best in my opinion. Like I said, I've been with them for years. If you want another one, you can just Google it, of course, but this is one of the best. And if you do want to join VIP and our free channel, then it's the first link in the description, and then these 2 clicks as well right here. What do I think about Bitcoin option expiry? Yeah, like I said, I'm really not worried about it. I'm not worried about it at all. Forflies, as price may go either higher or lower for a decent amount, do I sometimes set a long above current price and a short under current price at the same time? It seems to be legit to me. Good question, Chengpin. Yes, you're new to VIP, so you haven't seen me do that yet, but I do that occasionally, although it's for very particular circumstances and I'm not doing it here. The reason I'm not doing it here is, even though I'm very positive that if we fall below 50k, we're probably going to see 40k, there's still a lot of support in the way, and crucially, we're still in a very good uptrend. So by default, I don't like going short. I think it's risky. And because there's a lot of support in the way, there's a lot of opportunity for it to go wrong. I'm much better off playing the long side. So why am I not playing the long side? The reason I'm not playing the long side right now is we already pumped above this green box, this blue box that I had in the market, and this is where I would have looked to take on a long position. I would already be in that long position, and then I would have been stopped out. So actually, no, I wouldn't have set the order. I would only set the order after this dump. So in that case, I would have nearly entered the position and it would have nearly been very bad for me. So that's the point. There's no clear level I'm seeing to enter Bitcoin until above the previous all-time high. That doesn't mean I'm not going to trade until we break this level. I certainly think that's not the case. In fact, I think it's very likely I'll be ripping some trades between now and then. However, I need stronger signs of confirmation. I only want to trade the things that are safe, and that's how I'm able to maintain such a good success rate over so many years. Especially this past year has been my best year ever. That's why I've been able to do it. It's because I'm deliberately picking only the best opportunities I see. A lot of people do fall into the false trap of thinking that the more they trade, the more money they'll make. And that's usually not true. You can check that by trying it with hypothetical trades or with real money. It's up to you. And you'd probably see that when you start filtering your trades to only the absolute best, most obvious positions, you're probably going to do a lot better than when you were trading quite regularly. I certainly saw that. That's when my losses went way down and my profits started going way up. Like I said, losing money is something that's very important to avoid for 2 reasons. Number one, it's financially difficult to recover from them. If you lose 50% of your money, you've got to double it to break even. That's a pain. That's not easy. And number 2, I mean, you literally got to double as hard. And number 2, it also throws off your psychology. Now, the next time you see a good position, you might not have the balls to commit to it because you fucked up on the previous trade. And that's a really bad place to be. You know, now you're turning on good opportunities, you're turning your back on good opportunities just because you had a bad run. I mean, it adds another reason for you to not be successful, right? And that's what people don't consider. They don't consider the opportunity cost. Because that snowballs. We all know how that is. Most of us know how that is. Bad decisions start snowballing and becoming much worse. And it means that, you know, you might not take the good opportunity and now you're going to be sour about that because the good opportunity actually went quite well. So the next time you're going to overcompensate. You're going to take another shit opportunity just because you didn't take the previous one. And that's also going to blow back in your face because you'll lose more money. And now you're in a cycle of losses. So that's the way I see losses. And that's why I don't exercise that strategy you mentioned all the time. I do it a lot. I do it fairly regularly, considering my style of trading. But it's only when I feel absolutely 100% safe. And I don't feel that at the moment. This is why protecting capital is, in my opinion, the biggest priority. I've got to get going relatively soon, ladies and gents, but I will finish off with your questions before I do head off. Can I suggest some books? There's a link in the, there's 2 links in the description to 2 books I love. Actually, there's 4 links, but there's 2 books I love. They're both linked in the description. You can check them out. Thoughts on market cipher? No thoughts. What is the US dollar doing? Let's take a look at that. I mean, you guys know I'm not a macro economist or anything like that, but US seems to be up. Oh wow, look at that. US dollar's on a big rise. So that probably explains a little bit of what's happening to Bitcoin. Yeah, definitely. I really don't get how this is happening because there's been more stimulus packages. So I guess US dollar is up against other currencies. So it might just be that, you know, I mean, global currencies other than the US dollar are falling. Yeah, look at that. So GBP has fallen against the dollar. Euro has fallen against the dollar. It's not necessarily that the dollar is getting stronger, although it looks like it is. I think it may be more so that other currencies are getting weaker, because that's what DXY means. DXY is not a measure of the dollar's strength in isolation. It's a measure of the dollar's strength against other currencies. There we go. I do have to get going very soon. It's a relatively short live stream compared to some of the other ones. Bro, we need a computer setup tour. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. The setup is not very impressive anymore. I used to have the 6 monitors behind me, and I do still have them in London, but I haven't been to London for like 7-8 months now or something. So there's nothing left for me there. Love the new place. Yeah, it's a very cool office. So I think Bitcoin will be back to 60K in 2 weeks. Yeah, I think it's fairly likely if we hold above 50K. Even if we drop below 50K, so I mentioned, so here's the thing, that there's the next question. If we drop below 50K, the problem is that we're going to lose really, really strong support. And when that happens, it's usually an indication that the market is going to become very bearish for a long time. The question is, will the market become very bearish for a long time if we drop below 50K? And I think there's a lot that indicates it should, but it's Bitcoin and it's still overall in a pretty healthy place. I don't know the answer to that. I can probably only try and answer it if we drop below 50K, but crucially, I'm probably going to be wrong about it, so I wouldn't really want to guess. Everyone's asking about futures expiry. Yeah, I really don't think it's a big deal. Apparently there's a large percentage of the stimulus that people have received that is not in circulation. Keeps inflation from hitting hard. That sounds like organized fraud. But I guess it's the US government, so there's nothing they do better than that. Hit the gym, my guy. I need the body healthy with my mind. It's difficult because I eat very little, so I certainly do go to the gym from time to time. I box a lot because that's great cardio, but because of my restricted diet, going to the gym won't do much other than exhaust me. And the good thing is I build muscle pretty quickly, so when I'm in those bulking phases, it works like a charm. But for now, I'm just focusing on dropping more fat. I might not look very fat anymore, but I am, like, a lot. So there's a lot more to go. I will take your final questions. Are we lagging now? Is the live stream lagging, or is it just my side? I should probably go. Looks like my hair looks like Bollywood. That's bad. Yeah, guys, looks like the stream is starting to lag, so I need to get going. I'm gonna